something crosses the road. It's skeletal, light, fleshy, and it stands up, and then it like kind of just almost like leaps.
They look back and they see one. Clear as day. It walked 5 feet away from my audio recorder. We just saw a Bigfoot. Holy crap.
I've been pinched, I've been tapped on the shoulder, I've had my name hollered, a hand came up underneath my left arm. I said, little son of a bitch tried to get me. That was the time that I decided you don't sleep inside that building.
Did you see that?
The cowcur, it's big, it's white, and it runs faster than any man could ever run. And it would lean out behind the tree. And that's why we never go out, because the booger will get you.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Exploring the Unknown. My name is Dustin.
And I'm Luke.
And today we have a wonderful episode for y'all. So let me just give you a little understanding here. So in the misty hollers of Appalachia, where the wind snakes through the trees and shadows stretch long past sundown, some say the spirits of the old world still linger. Tonight, we're diving into two bone-chilling legends born from Cherokee lore. One, a thief of life that flutters just beyond the veil. The other, a cursed beast whose scream shatters sanity itself. This is the story of the Raven Mocker and the Wampus Cat.
I'm excited to talk about these creatures today.
Me too. I've not heard of, I've heard of the Wampus Cat, and I've not heard of the Raven Mocker. Oh no, you froze. Up there, back. But you said that you heard of them.
I've heard of both of them. Yes, I heard of both of them, but I mean, I'm not trying to mock any shows or anything like that. But
Raven Mocker.
I've heard both of them on Mountain Monsters.
Mountain Monsters.
So
we
that's
met
how
them guys.
I've heard of them. We did.
We met them. Yeah. We tried to get them to come on the podcast, but they weren't so inclined. Maybe we can change their mind one day. Who knows?
They were nice guys, though. Very nice guys.
Didn't you get that? They signed something for you, didn't they?
Yes, I have a signed koozie.
Oh yeah, that's right. I don't think I got anything signed from them. I didn't buy nothing, that they had there. We got our picture taken though. That was kind of cool.
We do.
So, you want to dive into this?
Let's do it.
Which one are we starting with here? Do we want to start with the Raven Mocker first?
Yeah, let's start with the Raven Mocker.
Okay. Do you want to give a little insight on what the Raven Mocker is? Do you have that?
So the Raven Mocker is a scavenger of death. And it resembles death in the spiritual world, and warning against dangers of the dark magic, straying from moral paths. It's an omen of doom, foreshadowing death and misfortune, which is interesting.
That is interesting. I was seeing that it only appears when someone is close to death, invisible to all but the most powerful medicine men. So there are some that can see it, supposedly.
No, I think it's interesting because all these fake Thors and all these different, all these religions and all these backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, like Italians and all these other Native American and all these other people always have some kind of scavenger, someone that's related to death.
Of death. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think the reason behind that is?
I don't know. I really
Do you
don't
think
know.
this here is kind of scary? You know, I know some things are like it's like the Grim Reaper is like the person or the thing that kind of helps you cross over, so it's not so scary or whatever. This is kind of scary. It says it feeds on the life force of the dying, stealing years to prolong its own cursed existence. That's terrifying.
That is creepy.
That's what's waiting for you when you die. As you're dying, you just hear a sound of rushing wings or a low, mournful whistle in the dark.
Yeah, that's not okay.
That's not okay. I was seeing that it said that elders, I would assume probably from the Cherokee tribe, in western North Carolina, that's a weird way to put that. Why not just Northwest Carolina? Have passed down stories of hearing unexplainable flutters and shrieks before a death in the family. Some Cherokee healers still perform rituals to protect the dying from raven mockers. That's interesting. Then again, I guess it's not so abnormal.
Yeah, with the Cherokee people probably still believe in this thing, and they're like, oh, we need to protect people from it.
Right.
So this thing can resemble a human and transform into a raven. Yes.
Have you ever seen?
Well, it says.
Have you ever seen?
It can resemble a human. Go ahead.
No, I was just when you said it
can resemble a human with.
There's lag. There's so much lag. Go ahead.
It says it can resemble a human with raven ear features. So I'm guessing it kind of looks like a raven as well. So it's a human with raven features, which I don't understand how that would work. But
well, you say that, and it reminds me of I've seen, I don't want to say rituals because I don't want to shed bad light on it. And I'm not saying that all rituals are bad, but I've seen rituals of sorts where they're dancing around fires and things like that, and they're dressed the way that they are dressed almost looks like a raven. Have you ever seen them?
Yeah,
do you think
I've seen them in movies and stuff like that?
Yeah. So no, I had a question for you though, and this is because
okay.
I know that we're kind of we dive into the cryptids and the paranormal both, but if you knew a raven mocker could extend its life by stealing the breath of the dying, do you think it's more of a cryptid or a spirit that's caught in a cycle of survival?
To me, it sounds like a spirit.
Like a spirit. I wonder if Freighter has any insight on this particularly. I know he's not coming from the Cherokee background, but I just wonder if there's anything, within that realm of what he, studies has, any kind of connection to this specifically.
I think the person we should have talked about it would be Daniel James, because he was a cryptozoology and stuff like that.
True.
Spiritual background person.
I bet you Ashley might know a little something about it as well.
She might.
Yeah. So, some stories say only Cherokee medicine men could see the raven mocker. Do you think that hints at a deeper connection between belief and perception? Or does that make sense?
I think they can see it more with because they're more open and more sensitive and stuff like that. So I think they might be able to see it more than other people. Correct?
Yeah. I'd have to say I'd agree. I think I think it comes along with a certain level of belief, the perception, because think about it like this. We go ghost hunting and things like that, right? And I don't know if you've experienced this or not, but like the more that I've experienced and the more that I change my mindset about what it is that I believe, it seems like the more that I experience and the more that I perceive.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you on that one. This also says the raven marker might be of the spirit or curse of a shaman who has transformed into a Bigfoot. The shaman could have used their magical powers for evil, earning them the curse of becoming a creature that is both vampiric, that don't make sense, and wild, bridging the supernatural and the primal realms.
I don't think I understood
Because
that.
it combines like magical powers was used to like bridge the supernatural to the real world together. This magic that they used.
So would that lean more toward it being a spirit then?
I'd probably say yeah.
Okay. Would you?
Because it was weird. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, would you want to know? If you had like a loved one dying or something, would you want to know that something like that was around, or would you rather just be more ignorant to it?
As a paranormal investigator, part of me would probably be like, yeah, I want to be able to see this thing and like see what if I can communicate with it somehow. But the other part of me is like, I don't. Yeah, knowing something's gonna happen.
I don't know, man. I mean, like even knowing what it comes along with, like as far as it, like what it does is stealing, like I don't want one of my people to be crossing the bridge and then this bird thing come by and snatch them up and they never make it to the other side. Now they're just bird food.
There. Bird food. I think the interesting thing is it might just bang a TV thing, but like whenever I seen the Raven Marker thing on the Mount Monsters, it was a Bigfoot. It was an all black Bigfoot with a glowing red or yellow eyes.
Really?
So that's where like yeah.
I mean that's
so it's hard. I want to believe it could be a part of a Bigfoot thing too, but in a way, it's like I don't know how true that part is because obviously it's TV,
right? And I feel like like the name was taken away from the mythology and none of the background. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now the other thing that you were talking about a little while ago, the sheep squatch, that makes a little bit more sense, sort of.
That'd be terrifying.
Kind of sounds like Krampus, doesn't it? What Krampus would look like?
Goat man.
Goat man.
It can. They say it can banish or tricked by powerful shaman rituals. It can be banished or tricked. Okay, I had to read it that twice to get what it meant. So it can be banished out of the area by shaman rituals.
I've always kind of been influenced, maybe not influenced, but interested in the shaman, the idea of being a shaman or studying shamanism. And I've been told a couple of times that that's kind of the path that I should be on, but I don't know. I maybe I should look into it a little bit more. Maybe I believe in past lives and things like that. So maybe at one point I was a shaman. I'm looking to see if there's any. I'm looking to see if there's any like sightings or anything. Maybe not. There might not have been. That's the thing about these kinds of things. It's like people can claim that they've seen something, but I mean, I'm not saying that they're wrong. You know, maybe they have seen something, but it's like maybe they're misidentifying what it was that they've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Not seeing Wampus cat. There's Wampus cat. There's the Raven
Modern
Walker.
culture.
What is it?
The modern culture represents supernatural power, mystery, and the balance of between life and death in the Cherokee folklore. So that's the modern culture of this thing. Continues to appear in stories and books and ghost legends. See, now this sounds more like it would be something spiritual.
Right.
Than
I found an
real
encounter.
life.
You want me to read it to you?
Did you?
I did.
Yeah, go for it.
So it says, I have been unsure of where to go to tell others about this. My grandfather recently passed, and the night he did, the strangest thing happened. I, from the Appalachian part of West Virginia, or of Virginia, and my family, oh, that was a weird way to write that. So they're from, that person and their family are from the Appalachian part of Virginia, both Cherokee and Navajo descendants. So stories of creatures in the woods aren't uncommon to me. I have heard everything there is about stories, and my family takes it all very seriously. And for everything native, I would highly recommend it to be taken seriously, which I would have to agree. You know, there's some truth behind why, you know, they do the things that they do. But it says, for what my grandmother and I experienced alone that night will haunt me forever. We live in the woods, not too far out from our neighbors, but the town is quite literally in the middle of nowhere. It's about 5 minutes of a drive to get to any neighbor's house from my grandmother's, and everyone there knows each other. I tend to enjoy being out of my grandmother's house because I am very introverted and love being with her and my grandfather. But my grandfather was becoming sick, and his time was nearing. So I wanted to spend every second I could at their house before he passed, making sure to do whatever was needed around the house and surrounding land. A few nights had passed, and since it was summer and I didn't have a job, there was no need for me to be anywhere but there. I just texted my parents to let them know I was doing fine, since they couldn't drive the hour and a half to get to the house because of work. So it would be just my grandmother and myself for a couple of days taking care of my grandfather. However, when dawn fell, he became extraordinarily sick, and my grandmother, who was a nurse, took care of him. I was on the couch in the living room playing guitar and writing music, when suddenly I heard what sounded like something flying over the house. My first thought was maybe there was a helicopter flying over, because people get lost in the woods often, and the search and rescue missions were very common. But this wasn't a helicopter. It was clearly the sound of like a bird. The sound of a huge bird over our house, flying in circles like it was signaling its next meal. I immediately went and told my grandmother, who said it may just be a helicopter. So I did what any confused teenager from the woods would do. I got my 30-06 rifle and went outside. Yeah, that's what I would do too. When I looked up, I didn't see anything. There were no lights, and it was a cloudy night, so it was just pitch black. I could still hear it flying. Then it stopped out in the distance, and at that moment, I heard what I can only describe as a scream or a screech of pure evil. At that moment, I froze. I had never heard anything like it, and for at least 2 seconds, everything was silent. The middle of the woods, next to a pond, always sounding with creatures, and I couldn't hear anything except my grandmother opening the front door and yelling at me to get inside. Now, I may be someone who would want to say that I'm big and bad, but that was the fastest sprint I've made into my house. My grandmother, now crying, immediately told me to say goodbye to Pa and run downstairs. I tried to tell her no, but there was a look in her eyes that just said not to. So I greeted my grandfather, who was barely alive at this point, and told him goodnight and that I love him. I hugged him and went downstairs. I sat down there for 2 minutes when I heard the sound of my grandmother coming downstairs, saying he was gone and that we had to stay down here for the night in her medicine room. She said a short Cherokee prayer and we went to sleep. I woke up the next morning and we buried my grandfather. My grandmother told me that what a raven mocker was, and that according to legend, when they consume a victim's heart, they take however many years left that person had to live as their own. She then said that Pa cheated them because he was ready to die before they had even arrived. We are mourning over his loss, but we have told our fellow Cherokee of the incident and informed the doctors to keep watch. So that's interesting.
That's very interesting.
That is very interesting. So do you think the grandmother knew?
I think she knew, yeah.
I think she knew
Because she
too.
even said about Raven Mocker. She even brought up the name Raven Mocker.
But do you think that like that experience with the flapping of the wings and the sound circling the house or whatever, do you think that she knew? Like in that moment, like it was happening like this year.
Probably, yeah. I'd say she probably knew. If she is Cherokee and she is believing all that stuff, I'd say yeah, she knew.
Oh man. You can grab my 30-06 when I went outside. That's what I would do.
Right. All right, until we're going to talk about the Wampus cat now.
We can get into the Wampus cat. Yes. Do you want to start off the or no, you started off the Raven Mocker, huh?
Yes, you can start off the Wampus cat because I have to pull up some information about the Wampus cat.
See, don't tell everybody you didn't study. They'll think we're frauds. The Wampus cat originates also from Cherokee lore.
Mm-hmm.
In a tragic Cherokee tale, a woman curious about a forbidden male-only ritual disguised herself in a mountain lion pelt to watch. She was discovered and cursed to wander forever, half woman, half beast, her scream echoing through the hills. In East Tennessee and West Virginia, reports of a large feline creature with glowing eyes and a bone-chilling scream persist to this day. In Boone, I can hear you just breathing. In Boone and Campbell counties, Kentucky, hunters describe a feeling of being watched, followed by terrifying howls in the night. See, this one here kind of like the story and the lore is kind of cool. It makes sense, as far as like what it is. But these experiences, the people that are encountering, it could be, just your run-of-the-mill mountain lion or, bobcat out in the woods. You know what I mean? People who are uneducated out there spreading these things. I was out there and I seen the Wampus. Although I have a friend who claims well, actually no, he has a cat he calls Wampus.
Looks interesting.
Wampus cat.
There's some guardian spirits about with the Wampus cat. The Wampus cat can be seen as a spirit of vengeance or a guardian of scaring knowledge. In the wild places, punishing those who violate taboos or engaging acts of disrespect towards the natural or spiritual world. So it's like a guardian. This is what it seems like.
Well, see, that makes me wonder though, because it was just saying there that it was almost a punishment for this woman who was trying to, check in on this man-only ritual.
Well, yeah, it says punishing those who would violate taboos and engage in acts of disrespect towards the natural and spiritual world. So it's like a guardian to things that are like to people. I don't know. And a guardian that punishes people.
Yeah.
Again, this says the Wampus cat is an omen to bad luck or death. The Wampus cat is sometimes considered an omen of death and a bad omen. Seeing her and hearing her cry would be interrupted as a sign of danger or death. Which is strange because the Raven Walker was a bad omen too.
Yeah. We've talked about things being put into place for reasons such as to keep people from eating people or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. I want to try to see if I can find an encounter with the Wampus cat. People be posting.
See, now this says the Wampus cat is typically portrayed as half woman and half cat creature with a supernatural powers and deeply tragic origin story. The Wampus cat legend comes from Cherokee people who is often told as a tale of punishment and revenge. Its origin story centers of a young Cherokee woman who died. It was driven by curiosity and desire to know more about the sacrilegial of her people, sacrifice rituals of her people, become a trigger figure tied with both shape-shifting and menace.
Here's something. Once in the 1920s, sightings of the Wampus cat tied to an animal killing livestock made it to the newspapers from the Carolinas down to Georgia. Reported sightings would continue until around the 1960s and still pop up occasionally to this day. So people are claiming to have seen the Wampus cat.
Is it a cat or is it a half woman, half cat creature? Because that's what this says on this origin to the folklore.
I don't know.
So what is it? Is it just
I think it's just a big
giant
cat.
black cat, or is it?
I think it's just a big black cat.
See, it says the feline body often portrays as a large, sleek, wild cat, like a cougar or mountain lion, with glowing eyes that pierces the darkness. The Wampus cat is often said that have anonymous, eerie presence, with howls echoing through the forest, signaling warning or danger to those who hear it. The symbol of transformation. A shapeshifter, the Wampus cat is a symbol of transformation, showing how a person can be changed by both of their actions in the force of nature. Her hybrid form represents merging from a human to animal worlds as the consequences of disobedience. So I don't know. It's a very weird thing because maybe it's for like when people see it, it's a cat, so it's not like half human, half cat. At the time, it's just a giant cat.
So people are only seeing it
as the cat.
As the cat. That's.
Yeah. That would make the most sense to me. I mean,
well, but then again, who's to say that it's not just a cat? You know what I mean? It's not just a black panther or a mountain lion or whatever.
Yeah,
I seen the Wampus cat. What it looked like? Well, it looked like a mountain lion, but I'm pretty sure once I couldn't see it, it turned into the woman cat.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm looking on
Do
our
you have a
cryptids on
story on it?
Reddit. I'm not really finding anything, that's really,
That's
jumping
fine.
out at me. Oh wait, here's something.
We have one of the Raven marker.
Right. Here's one. Here's something. I know two close relatives that have seen them. Both sightings in the same neighborhood in central Alabama. First was when my stepmom was driving back to the house, and out of her peripherals, she saw movement. And when she looked, she saw the back end of what she could only describe as a large cat going into the woods. Second is my grandfather. Really down to earth guy. No reason why he would make this up. Every day he sits outside in the carport smoking cigarettes, and one day he said he was outside one afternoon and saw a large black cat, clear as day, cross their entire front yard. I'd have to ask him about it since it's been a while since I talked to him about it, but yeah. As far as I'm concerned, they're here, they're real, not a fairy tale animal like some folklore. Well, that's not even, sticking to the folklore. That's just a big black cat, which we know, people have had sightings of.
Yeah.
Who do we know
We
that
should
has
do an
had a
episode on that one day.
big black cats?
Yeah, that guy that we met at the festival.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, do you have anything else you want to add about this Wampus cat
About the Wampus cat?
before we wrap it up? Yeah.
I don't think so. I take it it's getting time.
It is getting time.
I see. These stories may feel different on the surface. One a spirit, the other a cursed beast. They both carry similar warnings and fears. They embody spiritual punishment, transformation, and the consequences of crossing boundaries. Do you think it's possible that modern cryptid sightings are actually spiritual experiences that people don't know how to interpret?
It's possible.
It's very possible.
I mean, if you see what you believe is a real thing, which it could just be a spirit.
Right. Which would you rather encounter in the dark?
Which one would I rather encounter in the dark? None of them, to be honest with you. They both sound terrifying. They're both harbingers of death and doom. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either. Did you want to do a would you rather question real quick before we wrap this up?
Wasn't that the would you rather question?
Well, it was just a question that I threw at you while I was trying to, negate one.
Yeah, let's do a would you rather question and we'll wrap this up.
Okay. Give me a second. ChatGPT is being extremely slow at the moment for some weird reason. We're dealing with weather at the moment. I wonder if Faye West is out there chasing storms today. Ain't they doing it today?
Something like that. I think so.
All right. Okay. So, would you rather be haunted by the Raven Mocker, knowing it's near whenever death is close, invisible and inevitable, or be cursed like the Wampus cat, doomed to wander the mountains alone, feared and forgotten?
That's a good question. I think I would have to go with the second one because I know I'm not going to be dying.
Yeah, I would have to probably go with the second one as well. Again, I don't want to be bird food. Just the idea that could be a possibility. As we approach our time thinking, man, there's this bird out there that's just waiting to collect whatever years I have left. Ain't trying to do that. But do you have any more to
Yeah,
add to
no,
this?
that's crazy. I do not.
All right. So, the Appalachian wilds holds more than just trees and trails, and we both know that. They hold echoes, right? Echoes of women turned by, wild by sacred secrets of spirits who steal your final breath. And if you walk those woods alone, ask yourself, are you really alone? Or, are the watchers of old still there?
They're still there.
They're still there. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for
All
listening
right.
to another episode. And we'll talk to you guys later.
See ya.
See ya.